So earlier this week, or earlier last week, I guess, Phil and I were supposed to go over SCBAs and do a class on them. Obviously, the night that we were going to do it, we got a call, so we didn't get to it. We're planning on getting together and doing something here soon, but I had some time today, so I thought I'd at least come in and give kind of an overview, just some general basic information about our packs, about SCBAs, to kind of set you guys up better for when we have maybe a more detailed class, something involving RIT or Mayday, stuff like that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go over this pack. We use Honeywell packs. So just some components of the pack. You have your cylinder, obviously, your first stage regulator, your second stage regulator, which is also called your MMR, which is mask mounted regulator. We'll go over that more in a second. You have your harnesses, shoulder straps, hip straps, your actual plastic frame. On your hip harness, you have your buddy breather, which we'll go over here in a minute too. And then on your right shoulder strap, you also have your integrated built-in pass device. So just some little things. Like Patrick said, like classes like this are by no means a substitute for getting in here and getting your hands on it. So whenever you have a chance, whenever you have time, get in here, play with the packs a little bit, figure out, how you like to wear it, how it feels comfortable. If you like it riding, on your hips more or up on your shoulders, play with those straps, which, although sometimes a nuisance, they can catch on things. They also can be a benefit. Sometimes our packs have these where you tighten, where you pull. So as irritating as they can be sometimes, they're also great because they're very, very easy to find with a gloved hand. Another little tip, talking about gloved hands, it can be very difficult to turn on your cylinder with gloved hands if this cylinder has been put back in like awkwardly. What I've noticed, or I have had happen to me before, is where the cylinder gets put back in, but the knob to turn my cylinder on is very close to the pack, so I can't fit a gloved hand back there. So something I like to do, I've made it a practice to do, when I am swapping cylinders, I always make sure to angle that knob kind of up and away, so I don't keep it parallel with the pack. I angle it away, and then I close it, because that makes this very easy to get to with a gloved hand. So coming back up here to our MMR, or our mask mounted regulator, what you're gonna see with this is we have on here, if you click this center, that's your purge. It'll push air into the mask. If you push down on the top, that's gonna stop the flow of air. So you push down up here. You also have your bypass valve. So that's a way to just have continuous free-flowing air going into your mask. You can do that by turning it, open, close. Now, you can use that for different reasons. If for some reason your regulator is malfunctioning and you need to bypass it, you can just free flow air into your mask. I've used it before to clear fog out of my mask, but as a general just rule, you want that thing shut, because if it's open and you turn your cylinder on, you're going to be bleeding air, and nobody likes that. Also along the same line, so if you're breathing air, this button up here is popped up. So before you take your MMR out of your mask, make sure you're pushing down to stop the flow of air, and then to remove it from your mask, you're gonna take both gray buttons and press those down, and I'll show you that right now. This is our face mask, or our face piece. Ours are pretty cool. They come with this amplifier on it, so that is super helpful. when they're working properly, to be able to hear one another. It can be difficult to hear what someone is saying when they're all masked up. With that amplifier, when you are talking on the radio, you do not need to put your lapel mic right next to that. You keep your lapel mic right where it is. If you keep it on your turnout gear or on your pack, press the button, wait 1 second, and then talk. You don't have to have it right up on this. Also, when talking in a mask over the radio, try and talk in between breaths, because otherwise you get, this distracting and jumbling Darth Vader noise. So then, with these, with the Honeywells at least, these are, you put your MMR right up to your mask, you just push it right in. I know a lot of people have messed around with other masks, maybe Scott's and some other brands, where in order to connect it, you have to put the purge valve up, or the bypass valve rather, up and twist it in. Don't gotta do that with these, just push it right in. So then you start breathing, this button will push up as you're breathing. When you go to take it out, make sure that you're pushing this top black button, push that down, grab both grays, pull right out. Okay, so now, well actually, I'll go over the buddy breather real quick before I turn this on. So the buddy breather is gonna be on your hip in a pocket. And this is during a situation where you're low on air. That's also gonna be a Mayday situation, but obviously we'll go into that at a later date, hopefully. What this has is it has a male connection and a female connection. Every pack will have these. And so if you are low on air and it's just a matter of like, hey, let's just hook up as we walk out because we got a clear path out, or you're in a Mayday situation, you can use the RIP pack with this. I'm not gonna get down that rabbit hole, but you can connect with another pack, and what you will do is you will be sharing air. So you will breathe off the air from the lowest tank first, and then begin breathing off the higher pack. What you have to remember with these is they're not universal. So this only works with other Honeywell packs. Now, in a situation where maybe it's a RIT scenario, well, it's gonna be a RIT scenario, where you have to get somebody air who has a pack different than you, that's where, let me back up, that's where this baby right here comes in. This is your UAC, or Universal Air Connection. That is universal across packs, and it's a function of the RIT pack, so we'll go into that in more detail later. But it is great, especially for volunteer departments like us, where we respond to other departments' jurisdictions where they use different packs than us. That UAC is on every pack. So if you need to bump this tank with air, you get a RIT pack, you use that Universal Air Connection, and you can bump their pack. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and turn the cylinder on. All right, so here we go. And go ahead, charge this pack, go through a functions test. So to charge it, you're just simply turning it on. You're on, you got LED lights so that you can be seen in a low visibility environment. One thing you want to do is you want to check the pressure gauge on your passive ice and the pressure gauge at the bottom of the bottle. You want to make sure that they're no more than 100 PSI off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let this go through its alarm. It's going to go through 3 different alarms. The first 2, to shut the alarm off, you can shake or move. And the third one, you have to manually turn off. So we'll let it go through its alarm. Stage 1 alarm, stage 2 alarm. I can still shake, I can turn it off. That's for stage 1 and stage 2. If you're moving, it's not gonna sound. If you stop for too long, it's gonna sound. Stage 1. Stage 2. Full alarm. I can't turn this off by shaking. Yellow button. Double click. Turns that off. So that full alarm is obviously for a mayday situation where you're stuck, you're trapped, you can't get to your passive device to activate it. It will activate itself. Or you're unconscious, you can't activate it yourself, it'll activate itself. Now, if you know you're in a mayday situation and you call your mayday, you can activate your pass device on your own. I do want to say, in those situations, get your mayday information out first, get the information command needs out first on the radio, because if your pass is activated, it's going to make hearing you very difficult. But get that information out. We can go over that in a mayday class eventually. But once you have that out, then you activate your pass device, and you can do that manually by holding down the red button for 3 seconds. Goes into a full alarm. I can't turn it off by shaking. Okay. One more thing that's cool about our MMRs is they have a HUD system. HUD system is your heads-up display. What those green lights are telling you is your air pressure in your pack. So that way I don't have to look down necessarily at my pass. I can get a pretty good general idea of my air situation by just simply looking down at these lights. I have full, 3/4, 1/2, and 1/4. At 1/4, your low air alarm is going to begin to sound. When you're low, if your low air alarm sounds and you're not already leaving a structure, you need to get out. So with these packs, I think generally now they're sounding at like 1/3 instead of 1/4. But with these packs, it's 1/4. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that's operating properly. How I'm going to do that is I'm going to close my pack up, turn my air off, and I'm going to begin to use the bypass valve to watch it drain. So I'm going to go slowly. So it started sounding. I stopped it. And if you can see that, it's right at 1/4. So that's good. You want to make sure it lines up perfectly. So turn this off completely. Purge all the air. Get all the air out of the system. Double click the yellow button. Now your SCBA is off. So like I said, there's a lot to these. This is not by any means the end-all say-all. I don't know everything about them, but I just thought I'd come in here. I had some time, and I would give you guys kind of a quick run-through, a down and dirty of the packs, so that when we have future classes on them, whether it's RIT or Mayday, you guys have a little bit better understanding of what we're talking about, or a base knowledge. So hopefully it was helpful to somebody. Yeah, that's it.